Well, hello everyone. I hope you're all keeping well and happy. You know, in all the understandable doom and gloom about just now, sometimes a very welcome bit of good news filters through. And I got some very good news this week. In fact, it fair cheered me up. Now, I'll declare an interest right here. I'm a member of Kilmarnock Rotary. And among all the other things, the good things that we do locally, nationally and internationally, Rotary focuses on the eradication of polio. We help other charities and organisations around the world, and the success in that has been incredible. You'll remember polio. It was such a scourge here for such a long time, but it was a long time ago. But last week's good news was that Africa has been declared free of wild polio virus. That's a major milestone and a real impact on millions of lives. It's down from hundreds of thousands of cases worldwide to a small number of cases in Pakistan and Afghanistan. But it's not gone away, and it can bounce back at any time if we don't keep trying. So there's still work to do, and Rotary and our partners will keep on doing it. Okay, enough of the plug. The update on polio, though, reminded me of a disease that really has gone away, thanks to a vaccine invented by an amazing Christian doctor. I looked this up and it's an inspiring story. 40 years ago, the World Health Assembly declared the world free of smallpox. It only exists now in 2 laboratories in the world. Over 2 centuries ago, a Gloucestershire doctor, Edward Jenner, produced a pamphlet on his belief that vaccination could eradicate the disease, a radical idea at the time. The story of Edward Jenner is a reminder of scientific persistence and patience, but also the importance of science and faith, which drove him to find a vaccine. The story is that during his apprenticeship as a surgeon, the teenage Jenner overheard a milkmaid repeating a popular belief that she couldn't have smallpox because she had a cowpox sore on her hand from milking. Now, these kinds of stories had been doing the rounds for years and were dismissed as nonsense by many doctors. But over the next 30 years, Jenner studied the claim, and in 1796, he took material from a cowpox sore on the hand of a milkmaid, and he vaccinated an 8-year-old boy, James Phipps, who was then rendered immune to smallpox. Dr. Jenner was delighted with this and produced a paper detailing his arguments and experiments, but it was rejected for publication by the stubborn doctors. They didn't want to know. But eventually, and it took a while, that paper became the foundation that would lead to a world free of the disease. It's interesting that Jenner didn't see this as a battle against an enemy. That's not why he worked so hard and was so persistent. His faith gave him a passion for truth and to relieve human suffering, and he also had a passionate love of nature, seeing it as God's creation, informed by his Christian faith. It's truly an inspiration to us all. In a letter to a friend, he said, "While the vaccine discovery was progressive, the joy I felt to take away from the world one of its greatest calamities always ended in devout acknowledgements to that being from whom this and all other mercies flow." Well, he was right about that. Now, Jenner's respect for science and the natural world came from his sense of both being gifts from God. His faith also led to him providing the vaccine for the poor in his own hometown. And that was another radical idea, because Jenner and his companions weren't the progressive Victorians that we're used to hearing about, those stern and committed Christian men and women who made such advances in science and technology and human rights, all inspired by their faith. No, these were visionary Georgians. They were way ahead of their time. And in our search for a vaccine and our action against illness and death, and not just polio, smallpox and COVID-19, it may be easy to see the natural world as something to be conquered and science as the only source of salvation. But we know better. We know this can lead to an arrogant sense of self-belief that we know best, that we are masters of God's creation, a feeling that's contributed to abuse of our environment. But the coronavirus reminds us how vulnerable we are and that we need to have respect for the natural world. And in good Dr. Jenner, his commitment to truth, compassion for the poor, his faith and patience provide us with a real inspiration that these qualities can help with our current crisis. Bye for now.